दधातना महेरणाय चक्षसे यो वः शिवतमोरसस्तस्य भाजयते हनः उशतीरिव मातरः तस्मा अरङ्गमामवो यस्य क्षयाय जिन्वथा आपो जनयथा जनः रुद्राय ॐ नमस्ते रुद्रमन्यव उतोत इषवे नमः नमस्ते अस्तु धन्वने बाहुभ्यामुतते नमः यात इषुः शिवतमा शिवं बभूवते धनुः शिवा शरव्या यातवतया नो रुद्रमृडया याते रुद्रशिवा तनोरघोरा पापकाशिनी तया नस्तनुवाशन्तमया गिरिशन्ताभिचाकशीः यामिषं गिरिशन्तहस्ते बिभर्ष्यस्तवे शिवाङ्गिरित्रताङ्गुरुमाहि गुंसीः पुरुषं जगत् शिवेन वचसा त्वा गिरिशाच्छापदामसि यथा नः सर्वमिज्जगदयक्ष्मगुं सुमना असत् अद्य वोचदधिवक्ताः प्रथमो दैव्योऽभिषक् अहीगुश्च सर्वाञ्जम्भयन् सर्वाश्च यातु धान्यः असौ यस्ताम्रो अरुण उत बभ्रुः सुमङ्गलः ये चेमागुं रुद्रा अभितो दिक्षुश्रिताः सहस्रशो वैशागुं हेड ईमहे असौ यो वसर्पति नीलग्रीवो विलोहितः उतैनं गोपा अदृशन्नदृशन्नुदहार्यः उतैनं विश्वाभूतानि सदृष्टो मृडयातिनः नमो अस्तु नीलग्रीवाय सहस्राक्षाय मीढुषे अथो ये अस्य सत्त्वानो हन्तेभ्यो करन्नमः प्रमुञ्च धन्वनस्त्वमुभयोरार्त्नियोर् याश्च ते हस्त इषवः पराता भगवो वपा अवतत्य धनुस्त्वगुं सहस्राक्षशते शुधे निशीर्य शल्याणां मुखा शिवो नः सुमना भवा विज्यन्धनः कपर्दिनो विशल्यो बाणवागुम् उता अनेशन्नस्येषव आभुरस्य निशङ्गतिः याते हेतिर्मेढुष्टमहस्ते बभूवते धनुः तया विश्वतस्त्वमयक्ष्मया परिभुजा नमस्ते अस्त्वायुधायानातताय धृष्णवे उभाभ्यामुतते नमो बाहुभ्यां तव धन्वने हृते धन्वनो हेतिरस्मान् वृणक्तु विश्वतः अथो य इषुधिस्तवारे अस्मन्निधेहितम् शम्भवे नमः नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमो हिरण्यबाहवे सेनान्ये दिशाञ्च पतये नमो नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यः पशूनां पतये नमो नमः सस्पिञ्जराय त्विषीमते पथीनां पतये नमो नमो बभ्रुषाय विव्याधिनेन्नानां पतये नमो नमो हरिकेशायोपवीतिने पुष्टानां पतये नमो नमो भवस्य हेत्यै जगतां पतये नमो नमो रुद्राय तथा विने क्षेत्राणां पतये नमो नमः सूताय हन्याय वनानां पतये नमो नमो रोहिताय स्तपतये वृक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो मन्त्रिणे वाणिजाय कक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो भुवन्तये वारिवस्कृताय औषधीनां पतये नमो नम उच्चैर्घोषाय क्रन्दयते पत्तीनां पतये नमो नमः कृत्स्नवीताय धावते सत्त्वनां पतये नमः नमः सहमानाय निर्व्याधिन आव्याधिनीनां पतये नमो नमः ककुभाय निषङ्गिणे स्तेनानां पतये नमो नमो निषङ्गिण इषुधिमते पतये नमो नमो वञ्चते परिवञ्चते स्थायूणां पतये नमो नमो निचेरवे परिचरायारण्यानां पतये नमो नमः सृकाविभ्यो जिघागुंसद्भ्यो मुष्णतां पतये नमो नमोऽसि मद्भ्यो नक्तञ्जरद्भ्यः प्रकृन्तानां पतये नमो नम उष्णीषिणे गिरिचराय कुलुञ्चानां पतये नमो नम इषुमद्भ्यो धन्वाविभ्यश्च वो नमो नम आतन्वानेभ्यः प्रतिदधानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नम आयच्छद्भ्यो विसृजद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमोऽस्यद्भ्यो विद्यद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नम आसीनेभ्यः शयानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः स्वपद्भ्यो जाग्रद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमस्तिष्ठद्भ्यो धावद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सभाभ्यः सभापतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो अश्वेभ्योऽश्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः नम आव्याधिनीभ्यो विविध्यन्तीभ्यश्च वो नमो नम उगणाभ्यस्तृगुंहरीभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो गृत्सेभ्यो गृत्सपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो व्रातेभ्यो व्रातपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो गणेभ्यो गणपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो विरूपेभ्यो विश्वरूपेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो महद्भ्यः क्षुल्लकेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो रथिभ्यो रथेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो रथेभ्यो रथपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सेनाभ्यः सेनानिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः क्षत्रुभ्यः सङ्ग्रहीतृभ्यश्च वो नमो नमस्तक्षभ्यो रथकारेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः कुलालेभ्यः मारेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः पुण्यिष्टेभ्यो निषादेभ्यश्च वो नमो नम इषकृद्भ्यो धन्वकृद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमो मृगयुभ्यश्वनिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः श्वभ्यश्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः नमो भवाय च रुद्राय च नमः शर्वाय च पशुपतये च नमो नीलग्रीवाय च शितिकण्ठाय च नमः कपर्दिने च व्यप्तकेशाय च नमः सहस्राक्षाय च शतधन्वने च नमो गिरिशाय च शिपिविष्टाय च नमो मीढुष्टमाय चेषुमते च नमो ह्रस्वाय च वामनाय च नमो बृहते च वर्षीयसे च नमो वृद्धाय च संवृद्ध्वने च नमो अग्र्याय च प्रथमाय च नम आशवे च गिराय च नमः शीघ्रियाय च शीभ्याय च नम ऊर्ण्याय च वस्वन्याय च नमः स्रोतस्याय च द्वीप्याय च नमो ज्येष्ठाय च कनिष्ठाय च नमः पूर्वजाय चापरजाय च नमो मध्यमाय चापगल्भाय च नमो जघन्याय च बुद्धियाय च नमः सोऽप्याय च प्रतिसर्याय च नमो याम्याय च क्षेम्याय च नम उर्वर्याय च खल्याय च नमः श्लोक्याय चावसान्याय च नमो वन्याय च कक्ष्याय च नमः श्रवाय च प्रतिश्रवाय च नम आशुषेणाय चाशुरथाय च नमः शूराय चावभिन्दते च नमो वर्मिणे च वरोधिने च नमो बिल्मिने च कवचिने च नमः श्रुताय च श्रुतसेनाय च नमो दुन्दुभ्याय च हनन्याय च नमो धुष्णवे च प्रमृषाय च नमो दूताय च प्रहिताय च नमो निषङ्गिणे चेषुधिमते च नमस्तीक्ष्णे शवे चायुधिने च नमः स्वायुधाय च सुधन्वने च नमः श्रुत्याय च पथ्याय च नमः काट्याय च नीप्याय च नमः सूद्याय च सरस्याय च नमो नाद्याय च वैशन्ताय च नमः कूप्याय चावत्याय च नमो वर्ष्याय च नमो मेघ्याय च विद्युत्याय च नम ईध्रियाय च तप्याय च नमो वात्याय च रेश्मियाय च नमो वास्तव्याय च वास्तुपाय च हरों हर 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 नमः सोमाय च रुद्राय च नमस्ताम्राय च रुणाय च नमः शङ्गाय च पशुपतये च नम उग्राय च भीमाय च नमो अग्रे वधाय च दूरे वधाय च नमो हन्त्रे च हनीयसे च नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यो नमस्ताराय नमः शम्भवे च भवे च नमः शङ्कराय च मयस्कराय च नमः शिवाय च शिवतराय च नमस्तीर्थ्याय च कूल्याय च नमः पार्याय च वार्याय च नमः प्रतरणाय चोत्तरणाय च नम आतार्याय च लाद्याय च नमः शिष्याय च फेन्याय च नमः सिकत्याय च प्रवाह्याय च नम इरिण्याय च प्रपथ्याय च नमः किगुंशिलाय च क्षयणाय च नमः कपर्दिने च पुलस्तये च नमो गोष्ठ्याय च गृह्याय च नमस्तल्प्याय च गेह्याय च नमः काट्याय च गह्वरेष्ठाय च नमो हृदय्याय च निवेश्याय च नमः पागुंसव्याय च रजस्याय च नमः शुष्क्याय च हरित्याय च नमो लोप्याय चोलप्याय च नम ऊर्व्याय च सूर्ण्याय च नमः पर्ण्याय च पर्णछद्याय च नमोपगुरमाणाय चाभिघ्नते च नम आखिदते च प्रखिदते च नमो वक्किरिकेभ्यो देवानागुं हृदयेभ्यो नमो विक्षीणकेभ्यो नमो विचिन्वत्केभ्यो नम आनिर्हतेभ्यो नम आमीवत्केभ्यः त्रापे अन्धसस्पते दरिद्रन्नीललोहिता येषां पुरुषाणामेषां पशूनां माभेर्मा रोमो येषां किञ्चनाममत् या ते रुद्रशिवा तनोः शिवा विश्वाह भेषजी शिवा रुद्रस्य भेषजीतया नो मृडजीवसे इमागुं रुद्राय तवसे कपर्दिने क्षयद्वीराय प्रभरामहे मतिम् यथा नश्यमशद्विपदे चतुष्पदे विश्वं पुष्टं ग्रामे अस्मिन्ननातुरम् मृडानो रुद्रोतनो मयस्कृधि क्षयद्वीराय नमसा विधेमते यच्छञ्चयोश्च मनुरायजे पिता तदस्याम तव रुद्रप्रणीतौ मानो महान्तमुतमानो अर्भगं मान उक्षन्तमुतमान उक्षितम् मानो वधीः पितरं मोतमातरं प्रियामानस्तनुवो रुद्ररीरिषः मानस्तोकेतनये मान आयुषि मानो गोषु मानो अश्वेषुरीरिषः वीरान्मानो रुद्रभामितो वधीर्हविष्मन्तो नमसा विधेमते हारात्ते गोघ्न उत पूरुषघ्ने क्षयद्वीराय सुम्नमस्मेते अस्तु रक्षा च नो अधि च देव ब्रूह्यथा च नः शर्म यच्छद्विबर्हाः स्तुहि श्रुतङ्गर्तसदंयवानं मृगन्न भीममुपहर्तुमुग्रम् मृडाचरित्रे रुद्रस्तवानो अन्यन्ते अस्मन्निवपन्तु सेनाः हरिणो रुद्रस्य हेतुर्वृणकपरित्वेषस्य धर्मतिरघायोः अवस्थिरामघवद्भ्यस्तनुष्वमीढ्वस्तोकायतनयाय मृडया मीढष्टमशिवतमशिवो नः सुमना भव परमे वृक्ष आयुधं निधाय कृत्तिं वसान आचर पिनाकं बिभ्रदागहि विकिरितविलोहित नमस्ते अस्तु भगवः यास्ते सहस्रगुं हेतयोऽन्यमस्मन्निवपन्तु ताः सहस्राणि सहस्रधा बाहुवोस्तव हेतयः तासामीशानो भगवः पराचीना मुखागृधी सहस्राणि सहस्रशो ये रुद्रासि भूम्याम् तेषाकुं सहस्रयोजने वधन्वानि तन्मसि अस्मिन्महत्यर्णवेऽन्तरिक्षे भवा अधि नीलग्रीवाः शितिकण्ठाः शर्वा अधः क्षमाचराः नीलग्रीवाः शितिकण्ठादिवगुं रुद्रा उपश्रिताः ये वृक्षेषु सस्पिञ्जरा नीलग्रीवा विलोहिताः ये भूतानामधिपतयो विशिखासः कपर्दिनः ये अन्येषु विविध्यन्ति पात्रेषु पिबतो जनान् ये पथां पथि रक्षय ऐलभृदायव्युधः ये तीर्थानि प्रचरन्ति सृकावन्तो निषङ्गिणः य एतावन्तश्च भूयागुंसश्च दिशो रुद्रावितस्थिरे तेषागुं सहस्रयोजने वधन्वानि तन्मसि अस्मिन्महत्यर्णवेऽन्तरिक्षे भवा अधि नीलग्रीवाः शितिकण्ठाः शर्वा अथः क्षमाचराः नीलग्रीवाः शितिकण्ठादिवगुं रुद्रा उपश्रिताः ये वृक्षेषु सस्पिञ्जरा नीलग्रीवा विलोहिताः ये भूतानामधिपतयो विशिखासः कपर्दिनः ये अन्येषु विविध्यन्ति पात्रेषु पिबतो जनान् ये पथां पथि रक्षय ऐलभृदायव्युधः ये तीर्थानि प्रचरन्ति सृकावन्तो निषङ्गिणः य एतावन्तश्च भूयागुंसश्च दिशो रुद्रावितस्थिरे तेषागुं सहस्रयोजने वधन्वानि तन्मसि नमो रुद्रेभ्यो ये पृथिव्यां येऽन्तरिक्षे ये दिवि येषामन्नं वातो वर्षमिषवस्तेभ्यो दश प्राचीर्दश दक्षिणा दश प्रतीचीर्दशोदीचीर्दशोर्ध्वास्तेभ्यो नमस्ते नो मृडयन्तु ते यन्विष्मो यश्च नो द्वेष्टितं वोचं भेदधामि त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् यो रुद्रो अग्नौ यो अप्सु य ओषधीषु यो रुद्रो विश्वा भुवना विवेश तस्मै रुद्राय नमो अस्तु ये ते सहस्रमयुतं पाशा मृत्योमर्त्याय हन्तवे तान् यज्ञस्य मायया सर्वानवयजामहे मृत्यवे स्वाहा मृत्यवे स्वाहा प्राणानां ग्रन्थिरसि रुद्रो मा विशान्तकः तेनान्येनाप्यायस्व नमो रुद्राय विष्णवे मृत्युर्मे पाहि सदाशिवो शञ्च मे मयश्च मे प्रियञ्च मे नु कामश्च मे सौमनसश्च मे भद्रञ्च मे श्रेयश्च मे वस्यश्च मे यशश्च मे भगश्च मे द्रविणञ्च मे यन्ता च मे धर्ता च मे क्षेमश्च मे धृतिश्च मे विश्वञ्च मे महश्च मे संविच्च मे ज्ञात्रञ्च मे सूश्च मे प्रसूश्च मे सीरञ्च मे लयश्च मरुतञ्च मे मृतञ्च मे यक्ष्मञ्च मे नामयच्च मे जीवादुश्च मे दीर्घायुत्वञ्च मे नमित्रञ्च मे भयञ्च मे सुगञ्च मे शयनञ्च मे सूषा च मे सुदिनञ्च मे ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः श्रीहिरण्यगर्भलिङ्गस्वामिने नमः अमृताभिषेको अस्तु हिरण्याभिषेको अस्तु सुवर्णाभिषेको अस्तु साम्राज्यपट्टाभिषेको अस्तु ॐ अघोरेभ्योऽथ घोरेभ्यो घोरघोरतरेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः सर्वशर्वेभ्यो नमस्ते अस्तु रुद्ररूपेभ्यः सम्राजं च विराजं च अभिश्रीर्याचनो गृहे लक्ष्मीराष्ट्रस्य या मुखे तया मासगुं सृजामसि हर नमः पार्वतीपतये हर हर महादेव हर
सभापतिक वेर देव समानमगुम तिल्लै सभापतिक वेर देव समानमगुम तिल्लै सभापतिक वेर देव समानमगुम सभापति तेरे देव समानमगुमरिल्ले सभापति तेरे देव समानमगुमरिल्ले सभापति तेरे देव समानमगुमरिल्ले कृपानिधि तदरनना ஒரு தரம் சிவ சிதம்பரம் என்று உரைத்தால் போதுமே. ஒரு தரம் சிவ சிதம்பரம் என்று உரைத்தால் போதுமே. பரகதிக்கு வேறே புண்ணியம் பண்ண வேண்டுமா? பரகதிக்கு வேறே புண்ணியம் பண்ண வேண்டுமா? அரையர் புலவர் மூவர் பாதம் கோபால கிருஷ்ணன் பாடும் தில்லை அறிந்து சொல்ல கேட்டோம். கோபால கிருஷ்ணன் பாடும் தில்லை சபாபதிக்கு வேறே சமானமாகுமாதில்லை சபாபதிக்கு தமகரி दसदम दमगरि सपापति मदस समदसरि स मदसरि गारि गसरि दरि सदसद मदमगरि सपापति रि रि गमगरि दसरि गा गरि गम गरि सरि गम गरि सम गरि गम तद मद सदद मदरि सदद दद सद सरि स दसरि गरि गसरि दस सरि गा गरि गम गरि सम गरि सरि गरि सदम दद रि सदम गम दम गरि सभापतिक दस दम दम गरि सभापतिक मद सदम दम गरि सभापतिक मद स मद सरि स सदम गरि सदम गरि सरि गरि सरि ग मद सरि गरि सद मरि सद मकद मकदि सभापतिक रि 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 ग म गरि सद सरि ग सरि रि 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 ग म गरि सरि ग म गरि सम गरि सरि ग म मगरि ग म म मगरि ग म तद मद सद मदरि सद द स सद सरि स sada chatti sada sari ga gari sada sari sa da sari ga 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 gari ga ma gari sari ga ma gari sada sari gari ga sari dari sada sada ma gari sari ga ma da sari gari sada sa ri sada ma da sada ma ga ma gari sada ma ri sada ma ga sada ma gari sari ga ma ga ri ga ma da ma ga ma da sada sari sari ga ma gari ga ri ga ma da ma ga ma da sari gari sada sa ri sada ma da sada ma ga ma sa sa gari sada ma da da ri sada ma ga ma ma da ma gari sa sabhapati ke ve samana ma guma
जय शिव शंकर जय गंगाधर जय शिव शंकर जय गंगाधर करुणाकर करतार हरे जय कैलाशी जय अविनाशी सुख राशि सुख सार हरे जय शिव शंकर जय गंगाधर करुणाकर करतार हरे जय शशि शेखर जय डमरूधर जय शशि शेखर जय डमरूधर जय जय प्रेमागार हरे जय शशि शेखर जय डमरूधर जय जय प्रेमागार हरे जय त्रिपुरारी जय मदहारी
वामदेवाय नमः शुद्धोदकस्नानं समर्पयामि स्नानानन्तरं शुद्ध आचमनीयं समर्पयामि ज्येष्ठाय नमः वस्त्रं समर्पयामि श्रेष्ठाय नमः उपवीतं समर्पयामि रुद्राय नमः आभरणान् समर्पयामि कालाय नमः दिव्यपरिमलगन्धान् धारयामि कलविकरणाय नमः अक्षतान् समर्पयामि बलविकरणाय नमः पुष्पं समर्पयामि अध अक्षतैः पुष्पैः पूजयामि ॐ शिवाय नमः ॐ महेश्वराय नमः ॐ शम्भवे नमः ॐ पिनाकिने नमः ॐ शशिशेखराय नमः ॐ वामदेवाय नमः ॐ विरूपाक्षाय नमः ॐ कपर्दिने नमः ॐ नीललोहिताय नमः ॐ शङ्कराय नमः ॐ शूलपाणिने नमः ॐ खट्वाङ्गिने नमः ॐ विष्णुवल्लभाय नमः ॐ शिपिविष्टाय नमः ॐ अम्बिकानाथाय नमः ॐ श्रीकण्ठाय नमः ॐ भक्तवत्सलाय नमः ॐ भवाय नमः ॐ शर्वाय नमः ॐ त्रिलोकेशाय नमः ॐ शितिकण्ठाय नमः ॐ शिवाप्रियाय नमः ॐ उग्राय नमः ॐ कपालिने नमः ॐ कामारये नमः ॐ अन्धकासुरसूतनाय नमः ॐ गङ्गाधराय नमः ॐ ललाटाक्षाय नमः ॐ कालकालाय नमः ॐ कृपानिधये नमः ॐ भीमाय नमः ॐ परशुहस्ताय नमः ॐ मृगपाणये नमः ॐ जटाधराय नमः ॐ कैलासवासिने नमः ॐ कवचिने नमः ॐ कठोराय नमः ॐ त्रिपुरान्तकाय नमः ॐ वृषाङ्काय नमः ॐ वृषभारूढाय नमः ॐ भस्मोद्धूलितविग्रहाय नमः ॐ सामप्रियाय नमः ॐ स्वरमयाय नमः ॐ त्रयीमूर्तये नमः ॐ अनीश्वराय नमः ॐ सर्वज्ञाय नमः ॐ परमात्मने नमः ॐ सोमसूर्याग्निलोचनाय नमः ॐ हविषे नमः ॐ यज्ञमयाय नमः ॐ सोमाय नमः ॐ पञ्चवक्त्राय नमः ॐ सदाशिवाय नमः ॐ विश्वेश्वराय नमः ॐ वीरभद्राय नमः ॐ गणनाथाय नमः ॐ प्रजापतये नमः ॐ हिरण्यरेतसे नमः ॐ दुर्धर्षाय नमः ॐ गिरीशाय नमः ॐ गिरिशाय नमः ॐ अनघाय नमः ॐ भुजङ्गभूषणाय नमः ॐ भर्गाय नमः ॐ गिरिधन्वने नमः ॐ गिरिप्रियाय नमः ॐ कृत्तिवाससे नमः ॐ पुरारातये नमः ॐ भगवते नमः ॐ प्रमथाधिपाय नमः ॐ मृत्युञ्जयाय नमः ॐ सूक्ष्मतनवे नमः ॐ जगद्व्यापिने नमः ॐ जगद्गुरवे नमः ॐ व्योमकेशाय नमः ॐ महासेनजनकाय नमः ॐ चारुविक्रमाय नमः ॐ रुद्राय नमः ॐ भूतपतये नमः ॐ स्थाणवे नमः ॐ अहिर्बुद्ध्याय नमः ॐ दिगम्बराय नमः ॐ अष्टमूर्तये नमः ॐ अनेकात्मने नमः ॐ सात्विकाय नमः ॐ शुद्धविग्रहाय नमः ॐ शाश्वताय नमः ॐ खण्डपरशवे नमः ॐ अजाय नमः ॐ पाशविमोचकाय नमः ॐ मृडाय नमः ॐ पशुपतये नमः ॐ देवाय नमः ॐ महादेवाय नमः ॐ अव्ययाय नमः ॐ हरये नमः ॐ पूषदन्तभिदे नमः ॐ अव्यग्राय नमः ॐ दक्षाध्वरहराय नमः ॐ हराय नमः ॐ भगनेत्रभिदे नमः ॐ अव्यक्ताय नमः ॐ सहस्राक्षाय नमः ॐ सहस्रपदे नमः ॐ अपवर्गप्रदाय नमः ॐ अनन्ताय नमः ॐ तारकाय नमः ॐ परमेश्वराय नमः श्रीहिरण्यगर्भलिङ्गस्वामिने नमः नानाविधपरिमलपत्रपुष्पाक्षतपूजां समर्पयामि ॐ वनस्पत्यद्भवैर्दिव्यैर्नानागन्धैः सुसंयुतः आघ्रेयः सर्वदेवानां धूपोऽयं प्रतिगृह्यताम् बलाय नमः धूपमाग्रापयामि बलप्रमथनाय नमः साक्षात् प्रत्यक्षदीपं दर्शयामि धूपदीपान्तरं शुद्ध आचमनीयं समर्पयामि नैवेद्यम् ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् सत्यन्वर्तेन परिषिञ्जामि अमृतमस्तु अमृतोपस्तरणमसि श्रीहिरण्यगर्भलिङ्गस्वामिने नमः अमृतोपहारसहितमधुरफलान् निवेदयामि ॐ प्राणाय स्वाहा ॐ अपानाय स्वाहा ॐ व्यानाय स्वाहा ॐ उदानाय स्वाहा ॐ समानाय स्वाहा मध्ये मध्ये उदकपानीयं समर्पयामि अमृताभिधानमसि उत्तराभोजनं समर्पयामि हस्तौ प्रक्षालयामि पादौ प्रक्षालयामि मुखे शुद्ध आचमनीयं समर्पयामि मनोन्मनाय नमः ताम्बूलं समर्पयामि ताम्बूलचर्वणानन्तरं शुद्ध आचमनीयं समर्पयामि ॐ अघोरेभ्यो च घोरेभ्यो घोरघोरतरेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः सर्वशर्वेभ्यो नमस्ते अस्तु रुद्ररूपेभ्यः साम्राज्यं भोज्यं स्वाराज्यं वैराज्यं पारमेष्ठिकं राज्यं महाराज्यमाधिपत्यं नर्यप्रजां मे गोपाय अमृतत्वाय जीवसे जाताञ्जनिष्यमाणाञ्च अमृते सत्ये प्रतिष्ठिताम् अथर्वपितुं मे गोपाय रसमन्नमिहायुषे अदब्धायोषीततनो अविशन्नः पितं कृणो शग्गस्य पशून्मे गोपाय द्विपादो ये चतुष्पदः अष्टाशभाश्च य इहाग्ने ये चैकशभा आशुगाः सप्रथसभां मे गोपाय ये च सभ्याः सभासदः तानिन्द्रियावतः कुरु सर्वमायुरुपासदाम् अहे बुद्धियमन्त्रं मे गोपाय यमृषयश्चैविदा विदुः ऋचः सामानि यजोगुंषि सा हि श्रीरमृता सताम् श्रीहिरण्यगर्भलिङ्गस्वामिने नमः कर्पूर आनन्दमङ्गलदिव्यनीराजनं दर्शयामि हर नमः पार्वतीपतये हर हर महादेव हर नमो वयं वै श्रवणाय कुर्महे समे कामान् कामकामाय मह्यं कामेश्वरो वै श्रवणो दधातु कुबेराय वै श्रवणाय महाराजाय नमः वायुः ॐ तदात्मा ॐ तत्सत्यम् ॐ तत्सर्वम् ॐ तत्पुरोर्नमः अन्तश्चरति भूतेषु गुहायां विश्वमूर्तिषु त्वं यज्ञस्त्वं वषट्कारस्त्वमिन्द्रस्त्वगुं रुद्रस्त्वं विष्णुस्त्वं ब्रह्मत्वं प्रजापतिः त्वं तदाप आपो ज्योतिरसोऽमृतं ब्रह्म भूर्भुवः सुवरोम् अथैतं विष्णवे चरन्निर्वपति यज्ञो वै विष्णुः यज्ञ एवान्ततः प्रतितिष्ठति श्रोत्रजुहोति विष्णवे स्वाहा यज्ञाय स्वाहा प्रतिष्ठायै स्वाहेति सद्यो जातं प्रपद्यामि सद्यो जाताय वै नमो नमः भवे भवेनाति भवे भवस्व माम् भवोद्भवाय नमः वामदेवाय नमो ज्येष्ठाय नमः श्रेष्ठाय नमो रुद्राय नमः कालाय नमः कलविकरणाय नमो बलविकरणाय नमो बलाय नमो बलप्रमथनाय नमः सर्वभूतदमनाय नमो मनोन्मनाय नमः अघोरेभ्यो दघोरेभ्यो घोरघोरतरेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः सर्वशर्वेभ्यो नमस्ते अस्तु रुद्ररूपेभ्यः तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे महादेवाय धीमहि तन्नो रुद्रः प्रचोदयात् तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे चक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो नन्दिः प्रचोदयात् तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो दन्तिः प्रचोदयात् तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे महासेनाय धीमहि तन्नः षण्मुखः प्रचोदयात् कात्यायनाय विद्महे कन्याकुमारि धीमहि तन्नो दुर्गिः प्रचोदयात् भगवत्यै च विद्महे सर्वसिद्ध्यै च धीमहि तन्नो अन्नपूर्णाः प्रचोदयात् यो वेदादौ स्वरः प्रोक्तो वेदान्ते च प्रतिष्ठितः तस्य प्रकृतिलीनस्य यः परः स महेश्वरः। श्रीहिरण्यगर्भलिङ्गस्वामिने नमः। वेदोक्तदिव्यसुवर्णमन्त्रपुष्पाञ्जलिं समर्पयामि। आत्मप्रदक्षिणनमस्कारान् समर्पयामि। पुनः पूजाञ्च करिष्ये। छत्रमाच्छादयामि। चामराभ्यां वीजयामि। नृत्यं दर्शयामि। गीतं श्रावयामि। वाद्यं घोषयामि। अश्वानारोहयामि। गजानारोहयामि। आन्दोलिकानारोपयामि। समस्तराजोपचार देवोपचार भक्त्योपचार शक्त्योपचार मन्त्रोपचार सर्वोपचार पूजां समर्पयामि।
हर शम्भो महादेव विश्वेशा वल्लभा हर शम्भो महादेव विश्वेश अमरवल्लभा शिवशङ्कर सर्वात्मन् शिवशङ्कर सर्वात्मन् नीलकण्ठ नमोऽस्तु ते नीलकण्ठ नमोऽस्तु ते शम्भो महादेव शम्भो महादेव शम्भो महादेव शरणं श्रीकाळहस्तीश शम्भो महादेव शरणं श्रीकाळहस्तीश शम्भो महादेव शरणं श्रीकाळहस्तीश शम्भो महादेव शरणं श्रीकाळहस्तीश शम्भो अम्भोजसम्भवरुम् अन्बाणमायवरुम् अम्भोजसम्भवरुम् अन्बाणमायवरुम् अम्भोजसम्भवरुम् दुःखविनाशकलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् देवमुनिप्रवरार्चितलिङ्गं कामदहनकरुणाकरलिङ्गं रावणदर्पविनाशकलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् सर्वसुगन्धसुलेपितलिङ्गं बुद्धिविवर्धनकारणलिङ्गं सिद्धसुरासुरवन्दितलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् कनकमहामणिभूषितलिङ्गं फणिपतिवीक्षितशोभितलिङ्गं रक्षसुरज्ञविनाशकलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् कुङ्कुमचन्दनलेपितलिङ्गं पङ्कजहारसुशोभितलिङ्गं सञ्चितपापविनाशकलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् देवगणार्चितसेवितलिङ्गं भावैर्भक्तिभिरेव च लिङ्गं दिनकरकोटिप्रभाकरलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् अष्टदलोपरिवेष्टितलिङ्गं सर्वसमुद्भवकारणलिङ्गं अष्टदरिद्रविनाशकलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् सुरगुरुसुरवरपूजितलिङ्गं सुरवनपुष्पसराचितलिङ्गं परमपदं परमात्मकलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गं तत्प्रणमामि सदा शिवलिङ्गम् लिङ्गाश्रयमिदं पुण्यं यः पठेत् शिवसन्निधौ शिवलोकमवाप्नोति शिवेन समोदते
Okay. Today, this is the seventh Shiva Puja that we have performed out of the 16 pujas that we have committed to perform during these sacred 4 months of the year. And as I always say, this is Shiva Kshetra. This whole place is under the lordship of Lord Shiva. And of course, when Shiva is there, Parvati is there, and his two sons, Ganapati and Kartikeya, are there. So this place is very blessed because from ancient times, Lord Shiva has been worshipped here in these hills by the rishis, by the sages, by the siddhas, and they have always invoked his blessings, and so the whole place is charged with this energy of Shiva and Parvati. As you know, we are also building the Uma Maheshwara Swami temple just next to the Veda Pathshala. It's under construction. It will be ready by Dashara. It is supposed to be ready, and then we will have the Kumbhabhishekam on Dashara day as well as the Ratha Yatra. The Utsav Murtis, the Vigrahas are all getting ready. I was so happy to see the beautiful Vigraha, the model of it that is being prepared in Tamil Nadu by the Shilpis as per the Agama Shastras. The temple also is being built exactly as per the Agama Shastras without deviating. And this is a very sacred opportunity for all of us to worship Lord Shiva, because at the end, everything has to turn into ash. We apply vibhuti because that is the significance that everything turns into ashes. And Lord Shiva applies vibhuti all over his body. Bhasma Bhushitanga is his name, because he's always reminding us of the transience and impermanence of the body and the world that we think is permanent. And he's always reminding us of the permanence of the Atman, the self, which is finally eternal, beyond all these transient body and mind. So this thought is Shiva's principle. Shiva Tattva means not just doing good and doing auspicious things and doing worships, but to remember that while all the other things are impermanent, our bodies are impermanent, our thoughts are impermanent, emotions are impermanent, all that we accumulate and amass is impermanent, including relations and all kinds of friendships are impermanent. Final permanence is only in the abidance of the self. And that principle is Advaita principle, and Lord Shiva represents that principle of Laya, which is dissolution. While there is creation, there is a maintenance of the creation, and finally there is a dissolution. And between Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, Shiva is the one who stands for the dissolution of all creation. It looks like an antithetic thing to worship somebody who destroys and dissolves everything. We rather worship Vishnu, who gives us abundance to survive and thrive in this world. But yes, while we worship Vishnu, we worship Brahma. The most important aspect is to also be mindful that all that is which is given by Brahma and Vishnu are finally going to go to Shiva, because finally it is all going to be dissolved into the nothingness. With this knowledge, you enjoy the world, I say. Now, do not get entangled in the world without this knowledge that at the end, all this has to be left behind. Nothing will come with us, nothing is permanent. As long as you are there in the world, you use the resources that is given by God, the body, the mind, the relations, skills, knowledge, intelligence. But at the end of it all, you have to let go of everything. That is the final truth. And without that knowledge, if you start enjoying the world, then you will get entangled. And then punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, you keep taking again and again, births and deaths will happen. So avoiding that is the best way to remember the principle of Lord Shiva. I always remind that in our scriptures, the whole world is compared to a night shelter, like a hotel where you check in. You can use all the things in the hotel, the bed sheets, the cutlery, the food, the beds, the bathroom, the accommodation, everything you can enjoy. But at the end of it all, you can't take one spoon also with you from the hotel. You have to leave behind at the time of checkout. So enjoy the world with this knowledge that while you have checked in at birth, you will have to check out at death. And you cannot take a thing from here. So it doesn't mean that you discard the world and you develop some kind of a negative feeling about the world. No, the world has its own role. Once a passenger or traveler is going, he needs a night's shelter. So he stays at a night shelter but does not take even a piece of clothing or a piece of cutlery from there. He is not allowed to. With this idea, live in the world. That is Lord Shiva's tattva. Why Parvati is the Shakti. She gives us the strength to undergo whatever we have to go through in our lives. But Shiva ultimately stands for that permanent principle that finally at the end of it all, only the self remains and everything else disappears. So this idea is Shiva Tattva, and this is the Advaitic idea. This is what we are learning in Ashtavakra. This is the ultimate truth. And every time we worship Shiva, while we worship him with all the Naivedyas, all the Shodashopachara Pujas and other things, Ashtavadana Sevas, that is only to spend time contemplating on this idea that we are worshipping this very truth, that at the end, only the self remains and everything else is dissolves and everything else disappears. So don't be too attached to the world. Use the world to further your spiritual journey, to help others, to do good. But at the end of it, everything has to be left behind. Like when you cross over the ocean or the river, you must leave the boat. You can't keep sitting in the boat and you have to go to the shore. Likewise, this world has to be used only for the benefit of others. Paropkarartham idam shariram. In every good that you do, Shamkara, that is the principle of Shiva. While you are here, do good to others, and when at the time of checkout, you have to leave things behind, have no regrets, have no remorse, have no attachments. Live with peace that you know the truth, and the truth is the one which guides you. With this principle, we worship Lord Shiva. I thought I'll explain the principle to people who are new and they have come for the first time, or many of them are from abroad. So we don't worship. India's rituals are highly spiritual. We just don't worship because there is some rule and there is a rule book. No, we have a deep significance behind every ritual that we perform. Every deity brings a certain idea, certain principle of truth, which is reminded to us when we are worshipping that deity. So while we worship all these rituals, because our mind needs to be engaged, our hands, eyes, ears, nose, everything has to be engaged in some worship. So Indian worships have been designed very cleverly. They cater to all the five senses: ears, eyes, nose, tongue and touch, so that you are fully engaged and you don't get distracted while performing the rituals. But at the same time, the ultimate spiritual principle is also important, and that is the most important part why rituals are performed. So may Lord Shiva blessing be upon all of us. May we continue to march towards our ultimate destination, which is Shiva Tattva, the principle of truth, and may this journey be made comfortable and convenient by removing all the obstacles from the way by Ganapati and Kumara, and may Lord Shiva and Parvati, who is the Shakti, the energy, give us the three kinds of Shaktis to continue our journey and reach our destination. With these blessings, I conclude today's puja. I'll be back after some more time. I have to go to the hospital to see some construction related work. Then I'll come back again. Many blessings.
Respected elders, devotees from around the world, staff and students, Sai Ram and welcome to the World Cultural Festival. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "We may all have traveled in different ships, but we are in the same boat now." His words remind us that no matter where our origins are, but our destinies are deeply intertwined. We may come from different countries, carry different languages, and celebrate different traditions. Yet, beneath these differences, we share the same hope and dreams. The World Cultural Festival is a testament to this oneness. It reminds us that diversity does not divide us, it strengthens us. As part of Universal Wisdom for United World Lecture Series, two spiritual leaders from Slovenia and Bosnia and Herzegovina will be addressing all of us today. Our first speaker is Professor Etsy Marko Pavliha, a distinguished educator, legal scholar, and former statesman. He received his doctorate in law from Montreal University under his guidance of Professor William Tetley. In 2004, he served his nation as Slovenia's Minister of Transportation and later as a Deputy Speaker of Parliament. He is currently a professor at the University of Ljubljan's Maritime Studies and Transportation. His academic influence extends far beyond Slovenia. He has taught in Belgium, Luxembourg, and Australia. For the past 26 years, he has been associated with International Maritime Law Institution of Malta. His contributions have earned him wide recognition, including being named among the 10 most influential Slovenian lawyers, the title of Lawyer of the Year, and an honorary doctorate from International Maritime Law Institute. A prolific writer, he has authored 47 books and numerous works on law, ethics, and holistic thinking, making him one of Slovenia's most respected voices in both academia and public life. We welcome Professor Etsy Marko Pavliha.
Dobro jutro in lep dan, dobri ljudje. Hello and good morning, good people, brothers and sisters. Namaskara, Shubhodaya. It is my great pleasure and honor to be here at the World Cultural Festival today and to speak in front of such a distinguished audience. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to our Sadhguru, Sri Madhusudan Sai and Prashanti Balamandira Trust, for inviting me to the beautiful country of India, to Karnataka and to Muddenahalli. Dhanyavadagalu. We are here because we are all committed to cherishing our common vision that we are one world and one family. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So it would seem appropriate if I start my presentation with one of the most beautiful jewels of humanity, the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna gives Arjuna the following precious advice. You have the right to work, but never to the fruit of work. You should never engage in action for the sake of reward, nor should you long for inaction. Perform work in this world, Arjuna, as a man established within himself, without selfish attachments, and alike in success and defeat. And a little bit later, Krishna says, they live in wisdom who see themselves in all and all in them, who have renounced every selfish desire and sense craving tormenting the heart. Neither agitated by grief nor hankering after pleasure, they live free from lust and fear and anger. Established in meditation, they are truly wise. Fettered no more by selfish attachments, they are neither elated by good fortune nor depressed by bad. Such are the seers. It is difficult to achieve such a high state of consciousness, but it is possible. As a matter of fact, just a few months ago, when I received a kind invitation to attend the World Cultural Festival, after accepting it, I was reflecting on my sincere motivation. Why I accepted the invitation. Was that because of some sort of a reward or the prestige or any other delicious fruits of my work and service? Thanks God, I've come to the conclusion that it was all about the journey to coming to India, to see you all beautiful people, and to feel the spirit in the air and in our hearts. And I cannot do any better as a lawyer, and I apologize for that, to quote an ancient Roman saying which says, "Juvat ipse labor." It is the effort itself which is rewarding. And this is the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. And in light of its eternal spirit, we should also remember Sathya Sai Baba, whose altruistic and compassionate philosophy has been summarized in 8 words, only in 8 words. Love all, serve all, help ever, hurt never. Perhaps you noticed at the beginning that the title of my presentation is Being Slovenian, European, and Earthian. And I should probably also add 3 words, proud and humble, especially to be one of the inhabitants of our blue planet. So let me tell you just a few words about my country to warm you up. Otherwise, you will learn much more at the evening session. And perhaps I should share with you a little anecdote which will help you understand why it is sometimes, for me, coming from such a relatively new and small country, easier to explain where I do not come from instead of where I do come from. About 30 years ago, I was attending one international conference on insurance. At that time, I was working in this field, and I met a very nice gentleman from Aspen, Colorado, in the States. And knowing that he was very fond of skiing, I thought I would impress him by mentioning that Slovenia also borders Austria. And Austria, as you might know, is also a very alpine state full of beautiful skiing resorts and so on. And you know what was his reply? He seemed to be very shocked, and he said, "Oh, come on, man. You are really one of the luckiest ones. You really hit the jackpot, so you can go skiing to New Zealand anytime you want." Well, then it was my turn to be shocked. I said, yes, theoretically, it would take me only 25, 30 hours by plane. But since then, I always say I do not come from Australia or anywhere nearby, down under. I also do not come from Slavonia, Slovakia, and so on, but I come from the center of Europe. Slovenia is a very small country, as you will see in the afternoon. We used to belong to the former Yugoslavia, together with our friends from Bosnia, who are also here. After 91, we became independent, and the rest is almost history. So, just to give you a nutshell of our little country, you can see beautiful medieval cities, and actually we have a little bit of coast, 46 kilometers to be precise, which is really small comparing to Karnataka with 300 kilometers, or India, even more than 7,000 kilometers, but it's much better than to be landlocked. And we have plains and mountains and so on and so forth. It is also important, where we are speaking about any country, to realize that the essence of every country are the people, together with the nature and all living creatures. So let me say a few words about us, the Slovenians, and here are some you might have heard of. For example, our famous opera singer Mariana Lipovšek, our skier Tina Maze, our famous writer and playwright Ewald Fließer, whose books, believe it or not, are constantly translated also in several Indian languages. Then, of course, our basketball player Luka Doncic, at the moment he's playing for LA Lakers. And some others, Tadej Pogačar. Here it says that he won Tour de France twice. No, nowadays it's already 4 times. Then Pedro Opeka, the famous humanitarian working in Madagascar. Then Alexandra Kornhauser-Fraser, another woman, a chemist, scientist. We used to and still say that she is our little version of Marie Curie, so famous. And last but not least, it is Ivana Kobilica, our painter. In addition to our people, we are blessed by certain very meaningful symbols. At least 2 spiritual dimensions of my country are worth mentioning, arising from its name and the coat of arms. Firstly, Slovenia is probably the only country in the world with the word love in its name. So we love, yes, love is in the air, indeed, and in the prayer hall. It's probably the only country in the world, as I said, with the word love in its name, and we love to point out this hidden message of harmony, unity, and peace, as it beautifully resonates with Slovenia's peaceful identity, its natural harmony, and its commitment to values like coexistence and sustainability. Similarly, as it is beautifully described in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, whenever we love, we are really responding to the self within that person, to Atman and Brahman. And secondly, the Slovenia coat of arms reflects harmony with nature, a holistic, energetic view of the Slovenian landscape, and a non-traditional approach to heraldry because it is simple, symbolic, and inwardly meaningful rather than militaristic. It was designed in 1991 by a geomancer, artist, and spiritual thinker Marko Pogačnik, and it was adopted when Slovenia became an independent country following the breakup of the former Yugoslavia 34 years ago. The coat of arms features a blue shield, as you can see, with a red border, containing 3 key elements. The first one is Mount Triglav. You saw it in one of the previous slides, the highest mountain in Slovenia and a national symbol. The second are 2 wavy lines representing the Adriatic Sea and our rivers, or as our Swami beautifully explained to us yesterday, water, the water. And finally, you can also see 3 6-pointed golden stars taken from the coat of arms of the Counts of Celje, a medieval noble family emphasizing Slovenian statehood, historic continuity, and aspirations toward nobility and sovereignty. However, ladies and gentlemen, even more important is the symbolism of our coat of arms. First, the 3-headed mountain Triglav represents Slovenia's natural beauty, strength, and identity. It also reflects the threefold principle found in many spiritual traditions: body, soul, and spirit. Moreover, it alludes to the male principle: young, vertical, power, structure, form, and conscious will. Second, the wavy lines symbolize Slovenia's waters, the rivers, and the short coastline of the Adriatic Sea. They bring the element of fluidity and life into the composition. And they also represent the female principle: yin, flowing, horizontal, emotion, intuition, life-giving forces, and connectivity. Water is archetypically feminine, fluid, nurturing, and ever-moving. And last, there are 3 6-pointed stars, which are arranged in an inverted triangle, as you can see, a form often linked with a feminine cosmic womb or divine receptivity. The number 3 also evokes Trinity, holiness, and integration, suggesting a union of dualities: male, female, material, spiritual, inner, outer. Our symbols are closely related to our core values, which are the basis of ethics and spiritual growth. Slovenia is a legal and social state that stands for peace, ecological balance, cultural depth, quiet strength, and a deep love for both the earth and humanity. As one of the members of the European Union, Slovenia also shares its core values, especially human dignity, freedom, democracy, equality, rule of law, and respect for human rights, including the rights of persons belonging to minorities. The European Union also promotes solidarity, sustainability, social justice, and pluralism, as well as cultural and linguistic diversity. And it is perhaps also important to remember the key motto of the unfortunately unrealized European Constitution, which was united in diversity. Indeed, very much in the spirit of our mission: one world, one family. In particular, the values are cherished and promoted by the Slovenian civil society, together with the government institutions and individuals. Slovenia has a vibrant and well-developed civil society with over 27,000 registered non-governmental organizations, including associations, institutes, and foundations. Among these, several focus specifically on peace, human rights, and universal values. For example, the Peace Institute, the United Nations Association of Slovenia, ITF Enhancing Human Security, Humanitas, Slovenian Disability Rights Association, Caritas Slovenia, National Youth Council of Slovenia, and others, of course, including our UVACA. And let me briefly present 3 projects only, movements or organizations I had a privilege to help initiate and establish in the spirit of the One World, One Family mission. The first one is Weltethos in German language, or global ethic in English, or Svetovni ethos in Slovenian language, which is a visionary ethical framework for peaceful coexistence among all people and cultures. It emphasizes the shared moral values that unite humanity despite religious, cultural, or ideological differences. It was developed by the Swiss Catholic theologian Professor Hans Küng and formally presented in 1993 at the Parliament of the World's Religions in Chicago. In June 2012, a Slovenian chapter was launched, and it hosted its first public forum in the following year, followed by numerous additional forums, roundtables, and published books in subsequent years. The Weltethos is based on the idea, and I think this is of crucial importance, that there will be no peace among nations without peace among religions, and no peace among religions without dialogue between religions. But it goes further. It asserts that all major world religions and ethical or philosophical traditions share a common core of values that can serve as a universal ethical foundation for global society. And there are 4 fundamental principles of the global ethic. First, commitment to culture of non-violence and respect for life. We must reject violence, especially in the name of religion or ideology or politics. Second, commitment to a culture of solidarity and just economic order. We must stand for fairness, economic justice, and responsibility for the vulnerable. Third, commitment to a culture of tolerance and a life of truthfulness. We must promote honesty, openness, and the dignity of all human beings. And fourth, commitment to a culture of equal rights and partnership between men and women. We must advocate gender equality and mutual respect. And now, all these principles are rooted in the Golden Rule, a concept found across all major religions and traditions, which conveys the following ethical imperative: treat others as you would like to be treated. Or to quote from the Mahabharata, this is the sum of duty. Do not do to others what would cause pain if done to you. The second project I would like to mention briefly is a Euro-Mediterranean University, or EMUNI, which was established in June 2008 in Piran, Slovenia, during our first presidency of the Council of the European Union. It was one of the 6 flag projects of the Union for the Mediterranean, with the goal of building a Euro-Mediterranean area of higher education and research. Its network includes nearly 200 higher education and research institutions from more than 30 countries. EMUNI promotes intercultural dialogue, inclusive growth, and science diplomacy across the Euro-Mediterranean region and beyond, And I underline the last word, beyond. So it will be great if it connects with Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence, and we should explore this possibility. The third project is a special university course on holistic thinking and acting. Namely, in the summer semester of the 23-24, the Faculty of Natural Science and Engineering of the University of Ljubljana, which is the largest and the oldest university in Slovenia, began offering a rather unconventional elective course on holistic thinking and action. The core objective of this new course is to cultivate independent, critical, open, and integrative thinking, while interweaving knowledge from the natural and technical sciences with insights from the social sciences and humanities, all in the service of sustainable behavior and the well-being of all people. A key tool in fostering more harmonious coexistence is education and upbringing, shaped by the principle of logopedagogy. This is an approach grounded in logotherapy and invented by Viktor Frankl, an Austrian psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, emphasizing the meaning of human existence and the individual's search for purpose, i.e. dharma. We believe that an awakened world must be built on a spiritually developed population with a significantly higher level of consciousness, one that is both sustainable and holistic. Human beings must be understood, accepted, and empowered across their physical, mental, and spiritual dimensions, which is the central mission of our course. And I think that all these ideas were beautifully described with a very short story about the pencil, which was written by famous Brazilian author Paulo Coelho. I will just summarize it, but it's really beautiful to remember it. A grandmother was writing a letter, and her grandson asked her, "Oh, Grandma, what are you writing about? Are you writing about me, or what we have done together, and so on?" And the grandma says, "Yes, indeed, I'm writing about you, but even more important, I'm writing about this pencil." You also picture how the pencil looks like, right? Says, "Because I would like you to have the 5 qualities of this pencil when you grow up." "Oh, really? But this pencil doesn't seem to be special to me. What are the 5 qualities?" And the grandma says, "The first quality is, remember, whatever you do in your life, and you are capable of great actions, but never forget that there is a hand above you guiding your every step. And we call this hand God." The second quality is, every so often you will have to stop doing as the pencil and sharpen yourself. That will cause some sorrow and pain, but afterwards you will perform better. Third quality, of course, it is only human and apparently also one of the characteristics of a pencil to make mistakes. That's why we have an eraser, and we have to rub out all the mistakes. And, you know, as the old Latin saying says, it is only human to make mistakes, but it is diabolical if we repeat the same mistakes. The fourth quality to keep in mind is, what is the essence of you or the pencil? Is it the outer wooden part, or it is the inner part, the inside? In the case of the pencil is graphite. We know that in the case of the human being is self. It's Atman. And what is the last quality? The last quality is that, remember, whatever you do, you will always leave a mark, like the pencil. So be responsible and conscious about every mark. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, let me conclude with the ancient wisdom of the oldest Rig Veda, which teaches us that truth is one, though wise people call it by different names. Ekam sat vipraha baduha vadanti. I wholeheartedly believe that our mission of one world and one family is essential for the survival of all humankind, starting with the most vulnerable. As our Sadhguru often repeats, it is not the power of the strongest or the fittest which counts, it is the power of the weakest. And this is one of our crucial missions. The highest dharma is ahimsa, non-violence and universal love for all living beings. Ahimsa paramo dharma, which is further elevated by the principle of selfless action, nishkama karma. As the mind, so the person. Mana eva manusyanam. There is no fundamental separation between the individual and the universe. Everything perceived, including oneself, is an expression or manifestation of the same singular infinite reality. Aham Brahma, Sarvam Brahma. Najlepša hvala za vašo prijazno pozornost. Thank you for your kind attention. Nima dayalu gamanake danyavadagalo. Om Shanti Shanti.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring message from Slovenia. We now request Sri Venkateshwarlu, Senior Faculty and Subject Matter Expert, to extend token of love and gratitude to Professor Dr. H.C. Marco Pavliha. Our next speaker from Bosnia and Herzegovina is Professor Ivo Marvic. He is a renowned spiritual leader, educator, and an advocate for interreligious harmony. At the heart of his journey is the belief that his religion is peace. A gifted musician, he discovered early on how art and spirituality can work together to heal, to unite, and inspire. In post-war Bosnia, he founded a choir bringing together people of all religions and cultures to perform a symphony of religions, creating a powerful platform for reconciliation. Through music, holy pilgrims, and cultural experiences, he helps people rise above fear and build trust among the communities. His life is a testament to the transformative power of love, heart, and unity. We invite Professor Ivo Marvic.
Peace and goodness to all of you. I feel, my brothers and sisters, I feel very full of respect being here among you, experiencing powerful spirituality, producing so beautiful, so fine fruits of faith. thank you for inviting me and giving me opportunity to introduce something of the life and of the state, country of Bosnia and Herzegovina. I gave title to my presentation, Culture in Cultures of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Bosnia and Herzegovina is unique and special country in Europe, probably the most unusual on the continent, as it is microcosm of united Europe, multinational, multi-religious, multicultural, multilingual, and multiclimatic. Just one example, Bosnia boasts as many waterfalls as the rest of entire Europe, which highlights the country's exceptional natural beauty. I like mountaineering, and I will tell you one anecdote with the Slovenians who are also invited today in Bosnia and Herzegovina to present their country. I like mountaineering, and on one mountain in Bosnia, I met one group of Slovenians. Also, Slovenia is a very beautiful country, and Slovenians are very proud people, but they overcame their jealousness and said to me that we were on the mountain, most beautiful mountain in Europe. I like it, that the Slovenians recognize it. More people of Bosnia also Bosnia is not also only multicultural, but also most country with most. More people in Bosnia origin live around the world. More people from Bosnia live outside of the Bosnia than in Bosnia. Just let me mention also, when I speak about beauty of Bosnia, that 1986 in Bosnia were Winter Olympic Games. Bosnia and Herzegovina is so diverse country because of position on the routes between Europe and Asia. Sorry we don't have here, I couldn't, my presentation could be applied here technically, but if you take a map, you will see that Bosnia practically is on the roads and routes between Europe and Asia. Throughout its history, conquerors, empires, settlers, traders, adventurers, explorers, travel writers, and spies have passed through Bosnia, and there are many, many traces in Bosnia of them. Just a little bit about ethnic communities in Bosnia. In 3rd century before Christian era, in Bosnia were Illyrians. They are today's Albanians. And in 3rd century, Roman Empire conquered Bosnia and Balkans, and they were there up to 4th century, up to fall of Roman Empire. And then in 5th and 6th centuries, Slavic tribes came on the Balkans. Slovenians, Croats, Serbs, Macedonians, Montenegrinians, and also Slovenes. All of them developed their own culture and linguistic peculiarities, laying the foundations of the birth of the Balkan states. In 5th, 6th century, something about religions in Bosnia. In 1st centuries after in Christianity, Bosnia was Christianized, and all Slavic tribes adopted Christianity. In 11th century, due to the difficulty of communication between East and West, Christianity was divided into Eastern and Western Christianity, Orthodox and Catholic Church. And this border, the division of Christianity, passed right through Bosnia and Herzegovina. So Bosnia and Herzegovina are bordered between Orthodox and Catholic European Christianity. In 14th century, Ottoman Empire from Turkey conquered the Balkans and Bosnia and brought Islam in Bosnia. And in 15th century, Jews were expelled from Spain, and as people of the book, they were accepted in the Ottoman Islamic Empire and largely settled in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Thus, Bosnia and Herzegovina became a country of dominant Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Orthodox and Western Christianity, Islam and Judaism. In 19th century, religions were divided by people, ethnic groups. So Croats and Slovenians became Catholics, Serbs became Orthodox, and also Montenegrinians and Macedonians. Jews retained their national religion, and Islam began to form a separate national group, the Bosniaks. Thus, the multi-mosaic of Bosnia and Herzegovina came together. These diversities, despite the change of individual domination, lived together for centuries, permeated each other, and thus grew and developed individually, but they also created mutual links that shaped a common social and cultural framework that enabled society, the state in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Thus, each individual people and religion in Bosnia has its own specificity and develops it, but also links to bind them to Bosnia and make them Bosnian. A Bosnian Croat, for example, are Catholic, very similar to Croats in Croatia, but also they have indivisible Bosnian identity, so the Serbs and other people in Bosnia. They are originally Serbs or Croats, Muslims or Jews, but also they create Bosnian identity. Most people in Bosnia feel this unity of diversity as their identity and consider the state of Bosnia and Herzegovina to be a God-given and indivisible society and state. The experience of such a common life in Bosnia has lasted for centuries. Bosnia has created mechanisms and culture of common life that can be a model of building a united Europe. Interreligious relations are especially important for Bosnia because the people's nations in Bosnia were created from religions, and the content of the national identity in Bosnia is predominantly religious. That is why in Bosnia it is easy for politicians to abuse religions for political purposes, which nationalists do abundantly, and thus degrade the sacred mission of religions to produce the fruit of faiths. Because of the importance of religious relations in Bosnia, numerous people in religious and in civil society are engaged in promoting ecumenical and interreligious understanding. Bosnia has an interreligious council in which the great Abrahamic religions, the Catholic and the Orthodox churches, the Islamic community and Jewish community operate. But there are also numerous organizations operating in Bosnia that bring together and get to know both large and small religious communities. Every year, the Bosnian Franciscans, I'm Bosnian Franciscans, we organize interreligious meetings. It is in John Paul II, Pope, 1986, invited over leader of all religions in the world to Assisi, where St. Francis was born, to pray for peace. And in this occasion, we in Bosnia, I have done it also for some 30 years, we invite big religions and also small religious communities. Orthodox Christians, Western Islam, Judaism, but also we invite small religious community as Sathya Sai Center in Sarajevo, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Ahmadiyya community in Sarajevo, Baptist and Adventist Church, and also Mormon community and Lutheran churches, and also all of these religions, big and small religious communities, very willingly cooperate, are inclusive. It is very important, ready for dialogue, for interreligious understanding. They give up of religious missionarism. Only sorry we have one religious community who is not exclusive, is Jehovah's Witnesses. I work also very much with them to help them that they accept this inclusivity and hope we will succeed in it. However, Bosnia is exposed to imperial aspirations of neighboring nations because of its complexity. Greater Serbian nationalism uses Bosnian Serbs to divide Bosnia and annex part of Bosnia to Greater Serbia. Croatia has similar pretensions, while nationalist Bosniaks strive to make Bosnia an Islamic state and reduce other nations to minorities. For these reasons, a terrifying war was waged in Bosnia from 1992 to 1995, in which about 150,000 people died and more than 2 million were displaced. European powers are also trying to dominate the Balkans, especially Bosnia. The most present in the Balkans is German economic influence, which France and England in particular want to suppress, and also the Russian Federation efforts to dominate the Balkans are particularly aggressive, which they are largely successful through Serbia and Republika Srpska in Bosnia. Turkey, with its 5 centuries rule in Bosnia, has left deep traces and presence in Bosnia, which is now trying to maintain and translate into political and cultural dominance. And also a strong influence on the culture of Bosniaks, thereby weakening the indigenous Bosniak culture, which is crucial, important because of Bosnian Muslims are very important for relation between Christian Europe and Islamic world. Bosnia is politically organized as country of nations, not a country of the individuals, according to the human rights standards on which the United Europe is based. The 3 nations of Bosnia, Serbs, Croats, and Bosniaks, are constituent nations, so their Bosnian state is constitutionally based on the 3 of them, and human rights must be aligned with the standard of a balanced relationship of those 3 nations towards the society of Bosnia and Herzegovina. However, the aforementioned imperial tendencies from outside, supported from within, take more account of individual interest of the whole of society, which is destroying the culture of Bosnian society. Thus, Bosnia and Herzegovina has state institutions of general importance for everyone, such as National University, Library, National Museum, National Gallery of Arts, Cinematic of Bosnia, so radio, television. Even thus, these institutions contain cultural content relevant to all nations in Bosnia. The Serbian side in particular doesn't allow them to be financed, but rather invest these funds exclusively in its own culture. Despite such an unfavorable environment, Bosnia manages to survive and endure with all its originality. What is most important is the peace in Bosnia. We already 30 years live in peace. This peace in Bosnia is turbulent and restless, but it is peace. If you come to Bosnia, you will not feel any of the negative social and political tendencies mentioned here. Bosnia is extremely attractive and beautiful country. Tourism is one of the most important economic sectors in Bosnia. People who visit Bosnia experience it as a beautiful whole made up of diversity. And these particular conflicts do not surface in everyday life except in media. The dynamic of diversity results in high quality creativity in Bosnia, which is reflected in all branches of art, in literature, in film and visual arts, in architecture, especially in music. In terms of musical art, both in highly sophisticated music and in popular music such as rock, folk, and pop music, Bosnia is a European superpower, which you will certainly explain today afternoon to experience from the presentation of a group of musicians from Bosnia. It is worth mentioning that Bosnia has had several Oscar-nominated films and Oscar winner, that Bosnia has also 2 Nobel laureates, or one writer, Ivo Andrić, and one scientist, Vladimir Prelog, that Bosnia has 2 universities and has top universities and scientific institutions, and Bosnia is full of 1,000-year-old historical and cultural artifacts. The current social political situation in Bosnia is extremely unfavorable. Imperial interests are still trying to tear Bosnia apart. But Bosnia can be divided because its population is spread across the entire country. Bosnia is dotted with peoples and cultures like a tiger's skin. It is impossible to divide without ethnic cleansing, which would certainly lead to the war. In addition, Bosnia cannot be divided because the large number of people from all ethnic groups and the regions in Bosnia want Bosnia and Herzegovina as unified state. Moreover, it is impossible to divide Bosnia and Herzegovina because the only real perspective of Bosnia and Herzegovina is integration into Europe Union. The people of Bosnia are Europeans, members of great European culture, advocates of the unification of Europe and the building of a European society and community based on human rights. The unification of Europe is the greatest and most constructive social and political project of the modern world. Fortunately, all European countries believe that Bosnia and Herzegovina is part of the Europe and that it should not be divided but integrated into Europe as a whole. Integration into United Europe means accepting the highest social standard based on human rights, indivisibility of borders, and minority rights. Neighboring Croatia had to charge, and also Slovenia, had to charge more than 3,000 laws to be integrated in Europe. Bosnia and Herzegovina doesn't need European material, financial help, aid, as much it needs the organization of society based on human rights. Something about the relation Bosnia and India. India is a very large country, 3.3 million square kilometers and 1.5 billion people. Bosnia is only 50,000 square kilometers and 3.5 million people. The people of Bosnia and Herzegovina have deep respect for India, admire Indian culture and tradition, and are happy to adopt the spiritual and cultural achievements from India, such as yoga, Buddhism, and Hinduism. The relations between Great India and small Bosnia and Herzegovina has a wonderful prospect of cooperation and friendship, which is confirmed by this invitation to the World Cultural Festival 2025. Bosnia also has festivals relevant to the entire world, such as Sarajevo Film Festival, which is currently being held in Sarajevo, with the screening of hundreds of films from all over the world. Indian films, Agra, The Shameless, Everything We Imagine is Light, Santosh, and others have illuminated the rich Indian film tradition in Sarajevo in recent years. Trade exchange between India and Bosnia is very small, but it certainly has a solid perspective. People from Bosnia love to travel to India, to meet at one the cradles of human civilization. Thank you for enabling me this small, is mainly to me and a small group of Bosnians to be invited here in India on this World Cultural Festival. Thank you so much. Presentation. One my friend in Bosnia, Orthodox Serb, is artist, conceptual art and engaged art. And what we have in Bosnia problem, we have many war victims. And these war victims are reduced on numbers, not without respect. And then he came to idea, he took symbolism of P number. You know what is P number, 3,14. It is one infinite number, came to exist from trying to calculate the surface of the circle. It is practically impossible. And so this 3,14 and more numbers, it can be written up to 3 trillion numbers. And human beings should arrange, calculated to take only 3 numbers, 3,14. And he took this idea. Let us not, victims of the war, look as numbers, but with piety, piety. So he will awaken consciousness to respect human victims, and that all our projects of reconciliation and peace must come from perspective of the victims of the war. Here he calls it, lets people replace numbers with piety. You can here put the stamp of the P and subscribe you here. So give support to respect victims of the war. He gave me this book, and I will give it here to you that you can here surprise you and put the stamp of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for enlightening all of us with your inspiring message from Bosnia and Herzegovina. We now request Sri Venkateshwulu, sir, senior faculty and subject matter expert, to extend our token of love and gratitude to Professor Ivo Markovic. Now, we will have a short break for 5 minutes and then reconvene for Sathya Darpan.
Offering our salutations to Sadhguru Sri Madhusudan Sai. Sai Ram and welcome to this morning's Sathya Darpan. Yesterday, while explaining the last few shlokas of chapter 1, Sadhguru reminded us that we must truly believe that we are nothing less than pure consciousness, without any expectations or modifications, self-sufficient and peaceful, unagitated with infinite wisdom. Ashtavakra concludes the chapter by urging us to understand the transience of the form and the eternity of the formless, knowing which will redeem us from rebirth and the all-pervasiveness of divinity both within and without. This morning, we have the launch of the second volume of Sadhguru's commentary on the Ashtavakra Gita. We request Ms. Sandra Taylor and Ms. Priyanka Dadwal to present the book for release to Sadhguru. This volume includes chapters 2 to 7.
Sahana bhavatu, Sahana bhunaktu, Sahaviryam karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
We pray to Sadhguru to enlighten us on the following questions and doubts. Swami, on the very first day of Ashtavakra Gita, you advised us to forgive the most difficult person in our lives. But every time we hear or see the person repeat it, it creates the same negative emotion. How can we forgive them completely from the bottom of our heart? More importantly, how can we forgive ourselves, and how do we deal with ourselves during the process?
So you're still stuck in the first day. You've not gone too far from where you started. That's why I gave you that most difficult task on the day one, so that you really know how much spiritual strength you have, how much compassion you have, how much of unconditional love you have, how ready are you to receive this blessing of Ashtavakra Gita. Forgiveness is thought of as one of the greatest spiritual virtues. Forgive your enemy, Lord Jesus says. And the Lord's Prayer also says, may we be forgiven, just as we have forgiven those who trespass us. The idea is, nobody is born perfect. Let us first get that right. In the sense, Ashtavakra point of view, as a self, you are always perfect. But with mind and body, which is always influencing the expression of the self, we are never perfect. Like the stained glass stains the pure sunlight and colors it in various colors. Likewise, our mind and body and our own ideas, personality that we have developed because of our associations and actions makes the self appear as different from what it is. So if you think that the other person is unforgivable, then you must look inside within you also. Are you perfect? Have you been forgiven for your trespasses by the Lord? Or were you perfect from the day one and you never made a mistake and you never needed anybody's forgiveness? Or you never repeated any mistake? Ask yourself some of these questions. And you will get the answer that yes, I was forgiven. There are several times I've made mistakes, maybe the same silly mistakes which I promised not to make, and yet I ended up making it again. And still I went and sought the forgiveness of the divine or whoever the other person is. And the divine always forgave us, and that is why we are here where we are. If our eligibility to be with the divine is to be perfect, then none of us will be eligible. So first of all, develop a little more broader approach to the idea of forgiveness and put yourself in the shoes. And then ask yourself, how many times have you been forgiven by the Lord? And many times you really did not deserve it because you promised you would not repeat it and you repeated it. And yet you went and said, please forgive me. And yet you expected to be forgiven. The Lord did not think not worth forgiving this person. That is why we are here. So I think that should be the first approach to forgiveness, whoever that person is. Now if the person continues to be with you, suppose something had happened some time ago and now there is no connection between you and that person, it's easy to forgive that now because you don't have to deal with him or her every day. But now you are living with somebody, you are working with somebody, and that person you have to deal with every single day. And the same thing repeats despite whatever number of times you have explained to them that this is not right, this should not be done, this is not correct. And you might have even forgiven many times in the past. Yet every now and then the action repeats, and that is when you get very stuck. And that there are only two ways. One, if you have developed that absolute divine compassion and love, then it is easy, but that is not there yet. That's why we are in Ashtavakra Gita still. The other thing that you must know is that what is the consequence of that person being around and repeating the mistakes again and again? What is the consequence of that to you and to the system or to the institution, to the family, to the community around you? Now, somebody who is a habitual offender, how much ever, every time if you forgive, he'll go and offend and do something wrong and he'll be harming somebody else. That's why there is law and order, court and justice and things like that, where punishment is one form of correction. But if you end up punishing such a person by distancing them or by whatever means, you should not carry in your heart any sense of hatred or anger. You must do it for the greater good. So yes, you could not forgive fully in the sense you could not let the person continue despite the mistakes that the person was making. And you attempted to forgive him or her and tried to correct the person in nicer ways, but it did not happen. So now you ask me, what do I do now? I have tried. At that time I have to say, for the greater good, you must make a decision. And what that decision should be, whatever is good for everybody. It's not out of vengeance. It's not out of your personal grudges. It's not out of your personal equations with that person. Not with the idea of wanting to harm and then having that sadistic joy of watching him suffer. No. It is simply because it is not good for everyone. Therefore, this needs to be arrested then and there. So apply the greater good logic. And without any malice, hatred, judgment or ill feelings, act on that logic of greater good. Which means if the person needs to be suspended or you need to distance yourself from that person, even at the cost of the person suffering a bit because naturally dependent on you, so naturally it will be difficult. But then for the greater good, that is a decision that we must take. And then that is also equal to forgiveness only because you haven't done with any personality in it. You haven't done with any anger or judgment or malice or hatred. That is what it is. For example, in a judge, the court is there. A court judge is there. The judge comes across as criminal and must pass a verdict. When he passes the verdict, he has two choices. Forgive the criminal. If he has within his powers, he can forgive. But what's the guarantee the crime won't be committed again? So you'll say, no, Ashtavakra logic says you just forgive everybody. And then the judge will say, then how do I work here? That's my duty to make sure that things are in order. So if it was a forgivable offense, they will be forgiven. But if it's a repeated offense, then the judge won't forgive. What would the judge do? He'll say, see, I have nothing against you as a person. You are you, I am the judge, you are the convict. I have a duty to perform, which is to do the greater good to everybody. And that greater good demands that you should be convicted and imprisoned. That is the best solution. Then the judge does not hold himself and cry all of his life saying, how could I not forgive that criminal? I should have forgiven. He had a baby in the home. He had a wife at home. He had old parents. He can't get into that dilemma because he is going by dharma, the greater good. That way, forgiveness has its own logic. Huh? Forgiveness has its... Can you hear me? I can't hear myself. Forgiveness has its own logic from that point of view. That we just don't forgive because we want to grow spiritually. We also should forgive because we want that person also to grow spiritually. But if some person is not capable of appreciating what you are trying to do, then you have to go the way it should be done. Like the judge will have to pass the judgment. And if the person is imprisoned or even hanged tomorrow, the judge is not responsible for it because he did not do it out of hatred. But the moment in his verdict or in his sentence, there is personal vengeance of judge that gets inside. Then it becomes a non-forgivable thing, unforgivable thing. So remember that yes, try and forgive as much as possible, but if there are repeated mistakes, despite your best, like students are there, sometimes we have to remove them from the institutions. When they don't listen, they don't follow. We give them 1, 2, 3 chances, but they don't improve. Then what do? Then you will tell Swami, you are telling forgive everybody and you are not forgiving your own student. Then I will tell them we have tried. But whatever didn't happen, so now the best course for the greater good of everybody is this. It's not out of my personal anger against that person that I need to punish. It is for the greater good. So even greater good is okay. So that way you think and do what is required. And in a way it is good, though it's not exactly forgiveness, but it is still the next best thing that could be done. So you are still okay. And forgiving yourself is another issue because most of the people don't find it easy to forgive themselves. But then the issue is that we are all work in progress. And that you should remember, that we are also imperfect, we are also trying to become perfect. But I always say, no mistake is a mistake if you learn from it. It becomes a mistake when you don't learn and keep repeating it. So once you do that mistake, you ask for forgiveness, you're forgiven, you should see to that you don't repeat that again. Because next time when you repeat, then the greater good logic will apply and you can be punished. And there is no harm in that. That's the rule of dharma. So remember that and don't try to repeat the mistakes. Try to help that control not to repeat the mistakes. Then it is okay. But individually also it is the same thing. I told our students, we have a chart in the hostel for self-discipline. We don't punish them. We have put a chart. If you come late to the class, this is the self-discipline measures or self-correction measures you should undertake. And for every offense, there is a discipline measure and there is a chart. And the children only have prepared the chart. How much punishment for what kind of mistakes. And nobody needs to tell them. If they have done that mistake, go look at the chart. This is your punishment. What is the punishment? Sweep the floor or prepare something, do some help somewhere or some kind of a work. Or namasmarana or meditation or whatever be the course correction. So then you keep correcting yourself. But just holding you at a gunpoint and say, I'm no good and I'm not worthy living, that's not right because you are all in progress. It's not perfect, it is on the way. So have some patience and if you really believe in the greater good, I think you should correct yourself, forgive others and correct others where there is necessity. That's how you should think about forgiveness.
Swami, you advised us that one way to reduce thoughts is to not give words to the thought. How do we practice this as words and emotions are almost inseparable, instantaneous and appear along with the thought itself?
Of course, that is the whole trick. Because they appear together, it's like chaff from the grain. You have to separate the two. That is the practice. So you close your eyes and now some thought comes in your mind floating. I am sitting in Premamrutham. Now I want to remove this thought. So I want to remove the word I am sitting in Premamrutham. All the 5 words I want to remove so that the thought is there as an awareness of I am sitting here, but does not come with a definition, does not come with a qualification. That is a process. It will take a little while. It is not easy, but it is like separating the chaff from the grain. It takes a little diligent effort, like paring an apple. It takes a little effort. I know it comes together, but there is a possibility to separate it. And that practice has to come. So when you sit and meditate, a thought is floating, you just tell, I don't want to have any word, any definition, any qualification to this thought. And you will see there will be 1 or 2 moments of discomfort, that what am I trying to do like that. But then after 2-3 seconds, or maybe after a few more seconds, you will see that the thought has disappeared. Then another one will come. Then you must practice this another one. You saw all children cricket practice, they do in net practice. There is this bowling machine which our Vishwanath ji has provided. So you keep bowling and you keep batting. So first ball you bat, next one is thrown. Next one you do, then third one is bowled. Like that. Each thought will keep coming and you have to keep batting continuously. What is the batting? I don't want to give a word to it. He is a good person. I want to remove the good part of it. Then remove the person part of it. Then you see there is nothing left in your head to think about. It is an effort. You have to practice. It is not as but it is as akin to paring an apple or separating the chaff from the grain, which comes together but can be separated. And a few times of attempts of practicing it, you will get it. But if you really sincerely put effort, you will get it. But maybe out of 5, 1 thought you will be able to remove like this. 4 may still be there. But that is how you progress slowly. The next time 2 of them you are able to dissolve, because you don't give the thought a form, a name, a word, a definition. It will again go. It's just that 2-3 seconds of discomfort will be there. You have to experience that, which is the unusualness of this exercise. And that will make you feel discomfort. Again, as I said, if you get a thought, he is a good person. Now try to remove one word in the beginning. The one word they can remove it, good you removed. He is a person. The thought has already become smaller and less sticky. Now next you remove, he is. Remove the good, remove the person. He is. Thought has become even smaller with less intensity in it. And then slowly remove he is also. And you will see the thought has disappeared. So if you cannot remove all the words from the thought, start with removing qualifications of that thought. Good, bad, sweet, hot, ugly, beautiful, nice, not nice. Start with some one adjective, one qualification, and then slowly start removing the others as well. Like paring an apple or peeling a banana, whichever way you can think of. One by one, one by one. That is how it happens. But it takes some time. Initially it is uncomfortable, but eventually you will get a hang of it. Maybe for children, how do I explain? As I said, the qualification is the first thing you should remove from the thought. Good, bad, ugly, not ugly, or beautiful, pleasant, unpleasant. These qualifications are the first words you should remove. And suddenly you will see everything becomes neutral. He is a person, that's okay. He's a good person, is extra thought in it, which can be removed. Or he's a bad person, is an extra thought. That bad or good can be removed in the first attempt. Then slowly remove the person, then the person, thought and the person both disappear from the head. One by one, one by one. That is a process. You try and with trial only you will know.
At times, spirituality appears to brush aside problems rather than offer actionable steps to address them, as emotions are taught to be suppressed rather than understood and worked through. This makes it seem impractical in real life. What should be our approach?
No, this approach itself is wrong. Whoever taught you this spirituality, don't go to that person again. Nobody is telling you to suppress your emotions. Everybody is telling you to discriminate and detach. There is a huge difference between the two processes. One process is identify and suppress. I am getting this temptation, I am getting this desire, I am getting this idea, suppress, suppress, suppress. That's not what we are saying. We are saying start analyzing, discriminating, viveka. Is this a good idea? Is it good for my spiritual growth? Is it good for everybody? Does it help me become a better person? Analyze all this. And then you will have answers. No, it is not good for me, it is not good for anybody, it doesn't make me a better person. Then detach, not suppress. Remove and throw it. Suppress is when it is still around, right? But if you have uprooted it and thrown it away, where is the question of suppressing it? Nobody is asking you to suppress your emotions. They are asking you to discriminate whether it is good or bad and then apply the next thing, which is detachment. Suppression will happen when you have discriminated it as a bad thought, but you are not able to apply detachment to it. And then somewhere deep down it is there and you keep feeling guilty about it and keep suppressing, and one day it explodes. Nobody is asking you to suppress like that. You are asking discriminate. First, in the beginning, you might be able to discriminate, but not able to take the next step of detachment. I understand. So you will get tempted, you will fall prey to whatever your desire, fine. I told once in a while you will keep falling, but don't give yourself too much of liberty. Then next time, why did I do this? How did it happen? Analyze. Sit and analyze. Ekatma pratyaya sara I tell. Go to the deep root of where it is coming from. I'll tell you one example. I'll tell you from today only. I was sitting here and watching the Shiva Puja. Now, how mind works. I always said, be a witness to your mind. Mind will take you everywhere for a ride, and you will be also going on a ride happily. But suddenly, somewhere your awareness will kick in and say, where are you going? Where are your thoughts going? Where is your head going? You are in Shiva Puja. Focus. And then you will discard that and dump that thought and then focus back on it. So I was thinking like that. Then one boy was singing. I found a little possibility of improvement in one way of singing. So I was listening to the Gamakas and I was thinking, maybe if he had sung this way, it would be better. But then my thought from where it went, you imagine. I'm sitting in Shiva Puja, everybody is watching me. I'm watching this person sing, and I find there is a possibility of improvement in singing. And then I think, how do people learn to improve themselves? They improve because there has to be a teacher who observes them and tells them, see, here is where you can improve. Because they are so lost in their own doing that they don't realize. From there, imagine where my thought jumps. I go back to my childhood days when I wanted to paint a picture of Gayatri Devi. I was very fond of her in the beginning. So I want to sketch Gayatri Devi. Now to sketch that Gayatri Devi, I was trying I will watch a poster and then I will keep copying. I was in 5th or 4th standard or 6th standard, sometime like that. Now what happened, one day my mother told her boss in the office, one Mr. Agarwal, she told him that your son is a good artist. He was in 10th or 11th class. Why don't you ask him to come once to our home and teach my son a little bit of how to do sketching? So the man was very nice and he got his son that evening to our home, and then he took my drawing pad and pencil and he showed me how to sketch the face of Gayatri. And what I remember from that is, between the head and the crown, he gave some space for the hair. I used to draw the hair, crown on the head, and hair used to just emerge from the crown. I did not provision that space between the head and the crown to give the flow of hair. Now he taught me that, and that lesson in 4th class is still in my head. Can you imagine? So from that point of view, look at that, here puja is going on, that boy is singing, and where is my mind? It's gone to my childhood days and I'm remembering, and I remember that boy's hand and how he was sketching, how soft were his strokes. Mine was like very hard. I used to be very gentle, the way he used to hold the pencil, so many lessons. But that one lesson taught me that there has to be a provision for your spaces which you have to think before you start making the final lines. Then suddenly it struck me, where am I going? Where is my mind going? What am I doing? And then I told the mind, come back. And immediately the mind left that thought there, wherever it was, and came back, and then again started focusing on what was going on. See, this is what happens to every mind. That's why I say be an observer. Be an observer to your thoughts. Why that thought has come, where it is taking you, why it is taking you there. Do some analysis, and then you will know, where am I going? Like that, when temptation arises in the mind, some thought comes in the mind, because you have seen drishta, anushravika, you have seen or heard about something, that thought has gone inside the head. Now your temptations are starting. Watch your mind, analyze, and stop there. It's very important. Before you go and fall into it. So that is the idea. If you are always observers of the thoughts, you will know how to discriminate quickly and detach. Our problem is we are able to discriminate also, but not able to detach. And when we are not able to detach, we call it suppressing. But spirituality is not asking you to suppress. It is asking you to discriminate and remove it because it's not good for you.
From a medical perspective, could you please explain what is the state of consciousness for those who are under anesthesia?
They are like people in deep sleep. Their consciousness is there, but their mind is switched off, or due to anesthesia, their brain is switched off. So body is switched off. So we have body as the fan. I said mind is like the circuit or whatever motor, and electricity is the consciousness. Now if the motor is not working or the fan has been switched off, even though electricity is there, there is no effect of breeze. Likewise in anesthesia, your physical functions, the physiological functions are switched off. Because of this, even if your mind is active, your body is not active, so there is no reaction. Sometimes you are physically awake, but you are in a state of comatose state, your mind is switched off. Then also you don't experience the thing outside. But consciousness, like the electricity, is always there. If there is a way we could study that consciousness is there or not scientifically, we could even prove that yes, there is that consciousness still in the person. How? Because after anesthesia, when the person comes out of that, he remembers everything, right? He has not forgotten who he is or who he was. He might not remember what happened during the anesthesia because his brain was switched off or the physiological functions were switched off, but his consciousness that who he was before anesthesia, he remembers. That is the idea. The consciousness is the keeper of all our memories and knowledge and everything in the mind. So it does not delete anything. So anesthesia is like deep sleep.
Over time, practicing selflessness by giving up physical comforts and happiness for the sake of others leaves us physically and mentally drained. At what cost should one practice selflessness without compromising our own mental health and happiness?
See, selflessness should be born out of a place of love. Love knows no efforts. Love does not know sacrifice. It doesn't have this idea, I am doing something for someone, I am sacrificing my mental, physical, emotional peace and well-being for somebody else. These ideas don't exist in pure selflessness. These ideas don't exist at all. If you are saying that you are being selfless and still experiencing all this, you are not selfless in the first place, because this idea of self-preservation itself is selfish. How far should you go? However far your love tells you to go. People have given up their lives for others' sake. What are you talking about discomfort of body and mind? Because they love their country, they go and get killed at the borders. What comfort and discomfort in that? Because they are driven by love. Love does not have these ideas of self-preservation, how much mental stress I should take, how much, so much doership is there, so much of enjoyership is there, there is no pure love. Your selflessness is not complete. It is selfish only. As I said, this is binary. Please don't live in this imaginary world that I am 50% selfless, I am 50% selfish. I am better than the other person, maybe lesser than the next one. It doesn't exist. You are selfless, you are selfless. It is not like currency. Somebody who donates 100 rupees is less selfless. Somebody who gives 500 rupees is more selfless. It doesn't work like that. Somebody who gives away everything because his heart says so is selfless. Somebody who gives little because he thinks, what about me and all, is not selfless. So I and mine is there, then it is not selflessness. Only such times you get these kind of ideas. If you have pure love and pure selflessness, you don't get these ideas at all. You don't feel the burden of doing anything for anybody. You don't feel the pressure of self-preservation or protection or whatever. All these ideas don't arise in pure love. This is all selfishness only.
Swami, one of the biggest obstacles that we face while surrendering is the guilt of our mistakes, which makes us feel that we are unworthy of your grace. How can we overcome this?
It's good to have this feeling. Otherwise, what happens? We become casual. That God is all compassionate, all forgiving. It doesn't matter how many mistakes we make. Anyway, He will accept us. He has no other choice any which ways. He's the only devotee He has is me here. What He will do without me. These wrong ideas start creeping into our head. So some guilt is a good thing. Some bhaya, bhakti I was mentioning. But it should not become so much that it denies you the very opportunity of being with God. You made a mistake, you feel guilty about it, you feel you are not worth going to God, then you do some repentance, do some paschatapa, clear yourself of that guilt and mistake. Take some time and then come and meet God. Don't sacrifice your opportunity to be with God because of your silly, petty mistakes. That will be like biggest mistake that you would ever make in front of all other mistakes. So God is not like that. As I said, God is not here to just forgive us. He is here to improve us, right? He is here to help us evolve in whatever way. When people used to come earlier, make mistake and say, Swami, please forgive us. I used to say, no, you tell Swami, please correct us. Because forgive means, okay, everything that I have done has been forgotten now. Nobody needs to ask any question. I need not worry about it, even if tomorrow I repeat it again. But I used to say, no, Swami, please correct us, punish us if necessary, so that we improve from where we are. That is the way you should ask God. Come with guilt, no problem. You have done something, you are guilty about it, fine. But come to God and say, God, correct me, punish me, but help me grow from here. I'm ready to take whatever you are willing to give, whether it is pleasant or unpleasant, because I know you will do it for my highest good. If you run away from the doctor because last prescription you did not take properly, are you going to improve? Rather you come to the doctor and say, sorry doctor, you gave me the prescription, I did not take the medicines properly, I made it worse for me, I'm sorry, please correct me and give me what is the right advice. Running away from God is no solution at all for anybody, however big a sinner you are. Running away is even worse. So come to God with guilt, no problem, but come with repentance. Come with paschatapa and come and tell God, please correct me, punish me, do what it takes for me to become a better person. And be ready to accept that. If God says, get out, go away from here for next 10 years, don't show me your face, take it as your correction and work on it. If God says, don't worry, just come tomorrow also, sit in the same place, be here, just accept it as God's wish and do it. That much guilt should be there. Some guilt should be there, otherwise we will never improve in life. That is required. You should feel bad for what you have done. But then approach God to help you improve from there and not run away from God. That's not a solution.
If the Drigdrishya Viveka is a means to withdraw, we often get stuck at the level of the mind. Is there any method to overcome this?
Practice. That is the only method. What else you can tell? When you come till the mind level, then from mind level you have to go to the awareness level. What is mind? Thoughts. Right? What is the method of removing thoughts? Remove the qualifications of thoughts. Remove the words in the thoughts. It is a sweet experience, bad experience, happy experience, sad experience, the tall, short, big, small, whatever is adjectives to that thought, first remove those words. Already the thought will become smaller, your mind will, in this exercise itself, you will know that you are in awareness, observing your mind and thought, like I was observing my mind, which went away to my childhood days. When I observed that, I became alert and aware and said, no, where am I going? And then I came back to the present. So this exercise itself of removing word makes you different from your mind, isn't it? If I am holding this mic, the mic is different from me. If I am holding this thought is different from me. And if I am dismantling this mic is different from me. I am aware that I am dismantling it. Likewise, when I am dismantling my thought word by word, I am aware that I am dismantling thought. So you are already in that state of awareness. You are not conscious of it. But once the thought fully disappears, then you are even more conscious that you are in the awareness and you are not in the thought itself. Who is dealing with the thought? You ask that question, no? You are dealing with the body. My body is doing this. Now you come, no, my mind is watching my body do this. But the very fact that you know that your mind is watching your body do this, are you not already in the awareness? You are. But just that the thoughts are still occupying your awareness, which needs to slowly go in, and you have to establish in only the consciousness. Word by word is the method. It takes time, but it will happen.
Among the realized ones, is there a difference between avatars, avadutas, siddhas and gurus? Is there a difference in their consciousness reflected through their abilities?
Abilities are different for each of these category of people. Avatars are descents, avadutas are ascents, siddhas are yogis who have achieved certain powers through certain practices. And what is the fourth one?
Gurus.
Gurus are also those who have realized the knowledge through their practice. So this is not something that is, all are experiencing the same consciousness only, but in some it was inbuilt, like avatars came with that Purna consciousness, they didn't have to put efforts to realize that. Avadutas grew from that physical consciousness to the divine consciousness. Siddhas also, generally siddhas are not considered as those who are jnanis, they are considered as those who have some yogic powers because they practice certain yogic methods, like they can read people's mind or they can appear in many places and things like that. Those are siddhis. That need not be jnana at all. And gurus are those, the other three need not be gurus. Can be gurus if they want to. Avatar can also be a guru, avduta can be guru, siddha can be guru, but guru by definition itself is the teacher, disseminator of knowledge. The other three may not disseminate the knowledge. But the guru's job is to disseminate knowledge. And that is why guru is a little different from the other three. Of course, all other three can also be gurus because they can also start disseminating knowledge. So the quality of their ability is different for sure. Avatar is far more powerful from that point of view. He comes with that. And of course, a guru also rises and reaches the same state, he also develops the same powers. But the functionalities are different for all the four. They have different functions to do. Avatar has his own different function, dharma sthapana. That could be through various ways. It could be through teaching also. It could be also through other means and methods like Krishna had. Avadutas like Dattatreya is there. He doesn't deal with the world at all. He's roaming around in the forest somewhere, all naked, doesn't care about anybody. But if he comes across a sincere seeker, he gives him jnana, like he taught Parashurama the Tripura Rahasya. So once in a while they can also be gurus, but they're not born to be gurus. Similarly, Siddhas, they may have some yogic powers, they may help people, heal people, do some supernatural things, but doesn't mean that they want to teach that to others. But Guru is the one who has gained the knowledge by his efforts or through other Guru's grace, and then finally he is here to disseminate the knowledge. So they have different functions, but the consciousness they all possess is one and the same, but the use of that consciousness is different in each of their category.
As teachers, how can we accept children with different capabilities as they are and yet remain impartial to all?
Yeah, see, a knife can do only cutting. A fork can do picking. A spoon can do feeding. A sieve can do filtering. Each has his own capacity and each has his own trait and abilities, right? Once you know it is a knife, do you expect it to filter your coffee? No, it is not the function of this thing. That is meant for something else. Like that, each child has certain abilities, knowledge, skills, attitudes, and things like that. Once you know that child thoroughly, you set your expectations right. That this is what can be expected from this fellow or this girl, because this is what they are. So once you have done a thorough understanding of that person, your expectations are right. Because of that, you are able to accept it correctly. So you say that I cannot accept that this knife cannot sieve things. What is wrong with you, I would say? First of all, it is not a sieve. Why this child is not able to do so well in mathematics? I have been teaching and teaching and teaching. So many hours I have spent. Because it's not a mathematician whom you are dealing with. She is a poet or maybe poetess or an artist. Mathematics does not go inside her head. She is not wired like that. Once you accept that, then you will tell her, see, you just manage mathematics to the extent that it is needed. I'll be happy if you get this many marks based on your abilities, but you must show me some performance in the area that you are good at. What do I tell all children? I'm not expecting everybody to get 90% in every subject. But even in one subject also you don't get 90%, then I have a problem. It means you're not good at anything. That's not possible. God has given you some talent and ability. Okay, none of these subjects are doable. Skill programs are there. Children go there and they start doing well there. Or they take up sports or music or something. So choose your area because that is what you are meant to be. Don't compare and simply frustrate yourself. Similarly, teachers also should not compare and frustrate themselves. Maybe till 10th we are having a common, or 8th we are having common thing, but after 9th we understand who is meant for what. Somebody is going to be a musician, why teach science to him? Nothing will go inside, it's a waste of time. Teacher will frustrate himself. So know the child, then you will be able to set your expectations right, then you will be able to accept the child. That is how it should be. Once I was in Gulbarga, in the beginning there was a child who was such a dunce. In no subject he was getting any marks. So everybody said, we have taken him unnecessary from the village and he's not doing well at all. I said, something should be there in good in this child. God has not created anybody without a purpose. Let's find out what is that. So one Sunday there was an activity where people were asked to make some creative things, whatever they knew, like painting, art. And so this boy got a lot of clay and made small dolls out of it. A peacock, a bird, some elephant, a lamp, and things like that. I said, he has good sense of proportion. He understands how to use the clay. He may not know English or mathematics or science, but he has some skill in him. Then I pointed it out to the teacher, saying, you've been calling him useless, but look at this. Now I'm asking you to make one elephant out of this clay and let me judge you by that. Teacher can't get it right. He may get his mathematics right, but can't get a clay doll right. So then I said, maybe education-wise he may not go, but we must appreciate and encourage him to be an artist, maybe a clay artist, maybe anything else. So that is the job of the teacher, to bring out what is latent in the child, right? For that you should know the child. Once you know the child, you will be able to accept the child. Then you can do the right things.
Swami, when people come to you for help, how do you arrive at the right, unbiased decision for them without getting overwhelmed by their problems?
Intuition. I don't see them through my intelligence. I see them through my intuition. I see them from my heart. I don't see them through my eyes or my mind. That is a practice that I have done for a long, long time. Because eyes can deceive you, mind can confuse you, but heart will always know what is right. I say we operate from three states. First is instinct. Because of our past habits, we just assume things and then judge. Because our instincts are like that. Somebody cheated you, everybody is a thief. That is your instinct now. Somebody was good to you, everybody is nice. That is the instinct now. So you don't really think also, you just instantly believe it. The other one is intelligence, which analyzes, discriminates, does its own homework, and then comes to a decision. And then intuition, it just knows. When you're established in intuition, which is the self, which is your heart, whichever way you put it, it just knows what is right. And once you know that, you will always do right things. I always tell, please rise from instincts to intelligence and from intelligence to intuition. If not intuition, at least use intelligence. Don't go through instincts. Instincts are your personality problems. They can always go wrong based on your past memories and habits. So use intuition. That is one more question. Is already 12:30.
How do we know if we are progressing in our spiritual journey? How do we know whether the progress is real and not an illusion? And is there a way to measure it and gauge how far we are from the goal?
Yes, I always said, what is the thing that Ashtavakra keeps telling? Sukhi bhava, be joyful, be full of bliss. So when you are reaching your goal, your quality and quantity of joy should increase. Earlier in a day, 8 hours you were sad, 2 hours you are happy. Now 8 hours you are happy, 2 hours you are sad. That change should happen in your demeanor, in your personality. Your peace should increase. Earlier in small situations, you were losing all your balance and peace. Now you are able to handle situations better with more equanimity, calm and balance. That shows you are spiritually progressing. So these are the measures, how happy you are and how peaceful you are. In whatever situation. Situations are not going to change. People are not going to change. You are going to change in spirituality. The spirituality is not about changing things outside you. Spirituality is about changing things within. So that is what you should measure. How happy I am. Earlier, for small things, I used to lose my temper or lose my peace or lose my balance. But today, I am able to handle that better. And again, I tell how quickly you go back to that state of peace and happiness is the measure of how strong you are spiritually. Earlier, one thing happens, 5 days you are lost, now you are gone. You have no peace of mind, you have no steadiness. Now it happens within an hour that you are back to your thing and then continue your life. So these are something that you have to ask yourself. How much time does it take for you to get back to the state of peace and happiness? And how happy or peaceful you are compared to what you were earlier in the same situations or even in the worse situations. These are the things that you have to ask for yourselves. So we will close it here because we have other functions in the afternoon. And I'd been to the hospital, they're making a nice museum over there. Once it's opened, you will all get to go and see the museum. It's the story of Bhagavan from 1926 till 2025, the 100-year story. Nicely done. I have seen a lot of museums abroad, like Gandhi Museum in Houston, and then BAPS Museum in Dubai. So I picked up a few ideas, and then Bharat is working on it. And there's a nice story that goes around, and there's a little theater. You can watch a show for 15 minutes, and that's in one of the wings of the hospital in the ground floor. So a lot of work is going on, so I had gone there. But what is amazing is that it's such a unique story because there are many stories of many avatars. You know how India is replete with stories of saints, sages, avatars. But this whole thing is so very unique. You're watching Sathya Sai Divyakatha in the morning, right? And that itself is very unique. How Shirdi Baba took over the little boy Satyanarayan Raju and in a way made an entry into his life after that scorpion bite happens and he starts behaving very weird. And then everybody says, what is going on? What's wrong with you? He says, Sai Baba is coming. Sai Baba is talking. He used to mention Sai Baba. He never used to identify himself with Sai Baba. So he was still Raju or Satya, but he was identified that Sai Baba is coming. In fact, if you open the book of one book was written, Love is My Form. Very opening, there is Kamalamma who has written this. Kamalamma was the wife of, she was the second wife of the Subbamma's husband. Means Subbamma and Kamalamma were two wives of the Karnam. And this Kamalamma says that when he was a young boy of 7 or something, one day he was coming with just a towel wrapped around him after bath. And then he went and told Kamalamma that You know, Sai Baba is, I am Sai Baba, I have taken over the body of this boy to do my work. So that is how the entry happened. So though we have one version that, no, he was born like that, no, born as a vessel, but the content in the vessel came later and filled the being of that vessel and became that. Similarly, though it's not the same way, that happened at 7th or 8th year. First time he mentioned Sai Baba to Kamalamma is in, I think he was 7 or 8 years old, just after a bath. And he would want to worship Sai Baba. He would do puja to Shirdi Baba. That was his nature. So there was one Shirdi Baba as a spirit and there was one Satyanarayana Raju as a boy. There were two. But after some time, this merged and there was only one. And Shirdi Baba's, whatever the spirit consciousness was entering the Satyanarayana Raju, and then he was himself Sai Baba. Likewise, in this story, this happened at much later point in time. That there are two. There is a Swami as Bhagwan and me. But at some point in time, the boundaries got blurred. The similar story, but there it was announced in the age of 14, and the first mention of Sai Baba was at the age of 7 or 8. And he would go to temple and he will pull out the photo of Shirdi Sai Baba, where he had got for nobody knew. And he would pull out candle and flowers and camphor and incense and do worship to Shirdi Sai Baba. And then later it all, whatever happened, so like that. So very interesting that when they were telling me the story of the whole thing, how it goes around, from Ishwaramma to the present state of whatever is happening around. I think it will be a very interesting museum, but it's a small museum with batches of people only can go in 10 or 12 at a time, because it's in one of the wings of the hospital. We thought we will build it so that a lot of new people are coming, they don't know, so they see it and then they will enjoy the entire story. Right, so that is what I went to see. It's coming up well, but it's still a long way from the completion. I think everybody has to pray hard that whatever is needed for the hospital should come on time and everything should happen as we have planned and prayed. Right? Everybody should pray for that. Prayer has a lot of power.
सर्वसुगुणसिन्धवे सकलसुजनबन्धवे सर्वसुगुणसिन्धवे सकलसुजनबन्धवे गुरवे मधुसूदनाय महितमङ्गलम् सद्गुरवे मधुसूदनाय महितमङ्गलम् दीनदुःखितपोषकाय दानधर्मप्रेरकाय दीनदुःखितपोषकाय दानधर्मप्रेरकाय सर्वलोकहितरताय सर्वमङ्गलम् सद्गुरवे मधुसूदनाय महितमङ्गलम् वेदनादवर्धकाय विश्वशान्तिस्थापकाय वेदनादवर्धकाय विश्वशान्तिस्थापकाय ब्रह्मज्ञानबोधकाय नित्यमङ्गलम् सद्गुरवे मधुसूदनाय महितमङ्गलम् सदय हृदयराजिताय सुमन सदन शङ्कराय सदय हृदयराजिताय सुमन सदन शङ्कराय शरणमुक्तिकारणाय मोक्षमङ्गलम् सद्गुरवे मधुसूदनाय महितमङ्गलम् सत्यसायिनः प्रियाय सत्यप्रेमविग्रहाय सत्यसायिनः प्रियाय सत्यप्रेमविग्रहाय नित्यशुद्धनिर्मलाय नित्यमङ्गलम् सद्गुरवे मधुसूदनाय नित्यमङ्गलम् सद्गुरवे मधुसूदनाय महितमङ्गलम् ॐ जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्तजना संरक्षक भक्तजना संरक्षक पति महेश ॐ जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा
सुखिनो भवन्तु। शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय। जय बोलो सद्गुरु श्री मधुसूदन साई जी की जय।